What's up, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all to the first, possibly monthly, possibly weekly, we don't know yet, episode of Pixelated Perception.
Oh yeah.
What this is pretty much going to be is just like a pretty casual gaming podcast. We're going to talk about stuff with the homies. The homies might be in and out depending on the week and what people's businesses have to be attended.
Tail. Fair
Pale, whatever. So, I'm James. Rodney.
Yes, hello there.
Denzel.
Yes.
Was good,
Lerone.
So we're using government names, yes.
right?
Yes.
This man
Yes.
just called me out. He was like, "Yeah, man. Hello, Denzel Curry the third."
To be fair, first off, your last name ain't Curry. Second,
hey, bro, shut up, bro. Look at you getting my information out. It's crazy.
Denzel Curry. Whatever, it don't matter.
Let's stop
Your
the
tag
doxing
is
before
just
we
your
get
name
too deep here.
So it don't matter.
It's wild, man.
All we gotta know is that we like playing games. They're pretty freaking cool. We've been doing it for a long ass time. All of our jobs have unfortunately separated us to the point where we don't get to play as much anymore. That kind of sucks. But we're here and we would like to talk about it. So, jumping right into things. Personally, what I've been playing, the last thing I played pretty much was a little game known as Resident Evil 4, the remake specifically.
I second that.
Yeah, I think Rodney was playing it. I don't think have Lerone and Denzel. Have you guys played either the new one or the original?
I played the original, didn't beat it, but I'm just in the watch. I think I watched either I think I was watching Rodney beat it. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably, I don't know, bro.
I'm for
sure
sure
play a lot of stuff that you refuse to play because you're just an awful human being. But it's
Wow. Wow.
I guess.
Anyway, moving on.
Good friends, by the way. Good friends.
Beat that game. I played a little bit of the VR version of Resident Evil 4, and I played the original.
How was that, by
ago.
the way? I heard it was really good.
Pretty good. The only reason I didn't continue it is just because I haven't been playing my Oculus as much. I would like to, but it's just not. It's a situation of I don't always feel like getting up, going outside, and going into a big room to play games. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to sit down and chill out. So, but it was good. It was good.
Did you ever play the original?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I never owned it though. I used to play it at one of my friends' houses.
Do you remember like how different was it? Like I've never played it, but
you know what I remember from that shit? The Chicago typewriter, bro. That's all I remember.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, he was just going around and blasting motherfuckers and just like ending into zombies left and right.
Well, I know the VR version was pretty different, right? Like, how did you shoot? Because normally the game was like a over-the-shoulder third-person shooter.
Oh no, you have the thing on you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got the shotgun.
Got that thing on him, huh?
Yeah, especially when you got the shotgun, bro. They made you cock that motherfucker and everything. Like
For
you
real?
can drop the guns and shit. If you drop your gun, you have to pick that shit up, bro. Like your zombies are rushing you and shit. Like you're fumbling around. Like, bro, it gets
that actually sounds super sick. Like I kind of want to bring up some clips to look at, but like
it was a fun experience.
It definitely sounds like fun.
It's also one of the most expensive VR games I've ever purchased. It was
so
$30 or $40, I think.
Oh, so the games are usually cheaper than normal?
Yeah, the VR games, because they're not as big in scope. It's more of like the experience that you're getting, more so than like the content, you know.
Fair
okay.
Enough. Honestly,
so
I feel like we should all get together one day. This is just a quick side note, and do there's this VR like place that I went to. And it was
I know what you're talking about.
You put like all the gear on and everything. You pick your weapon, and it's like 4 people like in a mansion, and you're literally fighting off zombies, and everybody's got different weapons. It was actually really, really fun.
See,
I legit
really immersive.
I'm a walking
You're
stage
different.
hazard. Last time I had a legitimate
Oh,
VR experience, I
wow.
swung on somebody. I ain't even lie to you.
I bet
Really?
Lerone would, bro. No doubt in
See,
my mind.
I swung. I
y'all are
was like, ooh,
dangerous. You can't
my
even
bad.
enjoy life with y'all because y'all are just hazards.
Hey, chill, chill.
Am I wrong?
I mean, you not, but come on.
All right.
Let me front.
No, I'm your friend. I'm supposed to keep you from doing that.
Yeah,
I mean,
Whatever.
yeah, I mean
bro.
that sounds super sick. I'm looking. I put a clip in the in our little chat for the audio listeners here, so they could look at it and stuff. But um, the VR model that you like, what did you use to play it? What was it on?
What do you mean? Like the
That
headset?
was the headset. Yeah,
Oculus Quest 2.
it was the
Now
Oculus
known
Quest
as the
2.
Meta Quest 2, but Oculus, your name will live on forever in my heart.
yeah, alright.
You want to do a candlelit vigil too while you at it, or what?
Pretty much. We might as well. We can all get together and sing Kumbaya.
I'll set some
I mean,
toilet paper on fire for you.
they
That's
still
as far as
support
my
it,
energy.
right?
Is that what?
Like they still support it, right?
Yeah, they do. It's just a different name.
Yeah.
Meta.
I mean, I know Resident Evil. I mean, I'm gonna stay on Resident Evil right now, but I know it's pretty much been one of the biggest VR games to like, even like that's like one of the only VR games people even talk about. Like that happened even when Resident Evil 7 I think came out and put out a VR version for the PS4
Mhm.
for that VR headset, and I remember people saying that that was really spooky.
Oh
They
yeah,
always
like
do a
yeah,
good
It's a
job with
really
that.
great
good
for horror.
recipe for horror. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Like all the
you'll
stuff
be ready to.
that the little set pieces in all the games. Like if you say you got the headset on and you're walking down the hallway and you got the windows and then you see the dog like jump through the window right in front of you. I feel
Yeah, the
like
classic shot.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the classic shit, I feel like you feel it a lot more with a VR headset because you're there. You're not like top down camera. I honestly need to get
Yeah.
one of them one
Yeah.
day. I just gotta
I
justify
mean,
the
buy it
purchase.
secondhand at this point because I got mine before they raised the price because it used to be like $200 and $300. I think it was like 250 and like 350, but now
Mhm.
the first one is 350 and then the next one up is like 450 or something like that because they increased the prices. I've never seen that happen before, but yeah, like
They increased it.
That's
Is
super
there? Did
weird.
they
They
sell anything along with it, or is it still the
no, they just the
same?
base price went up. I'm guessing it was because of materials.
Was this like in the last year or two?
It happened a couple years ago now.
Because I remember like
Oh,
in the height of the pandemic, a lot of stuff like the Switch. Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
the
the Switch
Switch. Yeah,
prices
because
had
everybody
jacked
was in
up
their
hard.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not. It usually wasn't like retail though. Like, cause even during the pandemic, like, well, the PlayStation did end up going up in price, I think. But even during the pandemic, when you couldn't find a PS5, the retailers weren't fucking selling that shit for like $600, $700. You know, cause Sony hadn't said like we have to increase the price yet. But like the Oculus, they legitimately, I guess they were just selling it at a loss at first, and then eventually they were like, man, fuck
interesting.
that, we're not selling
How
it at
much
no
was it? How much
loss.
was the cost of for?
It was like between, it was like $250 or $350.
Is that
But
what
I
you
know
bought
So
it
pretty
on?
much jumped it
I
up
bought
around
mine at
$100.
the yeah, like I bought mine for like 250.
Yeah.
Mm.
They jumped it up
Mm.
to like 400.
Yeah, it's like people are paying like $400 for them now.
Whew.
Crazy. I
Yeah.
wonder if it's literally because they were selling at a loss, or maybe just they didn't make a
They
lot
probably
because they didn't
wanted to make
expect to
more
sell a
money.
lot.
They probably
Yeah.
were just trying to make more money. I mean, like the Facebook division hasn't been doing that great. You know, I
Yeah, I was
work in
gonna
the
say,
tech.
are they trying to cushion the blow a little bit from all the money they're losing with the metaverse stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
Because
know,
they've
I'm
been
not
losing, they've
gonna
been hemorrhaging money for the last few years, yeah,
for quite a while. Yeah,
and
for sure.
like a decent amount of money too. Like this,
Didn't they
these.
just have a settlement you were telling us about Lizelle?
Bro, I think they let you said what?
The settlement you were telling us about?
Oh yeah, the
Facebook?
settlement was like $725 million for
It was like a
violating
privacy leak,
people's
right?
privacy. Yeah, so that's one thing. But other on the other side, I did have someone tell me I think that they had to cut thousands of jobs from
Yeah, I heard
Facebook as
about that.
well. And the person telling me it was a trainer, so he was like, "Yeah, they fired everybody except for me, and
Oh
I don't have
no.
anybody to train." So they're like, "Yeah, they're just sending me out to do stuff, you know." So it was like, man,
That's interesting.
That's gotta be
Yeah.
rough.
yeah, it's rough. I mean, you still got a
Pretty
job,
much
but
at
it's
that
like,
point, you kind of knowing like
I'm
who's
surprised they
next on
kept
the
him.
chopping block. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Real.
why wouldn't they get rid of the trainer? But oh,
I mean, I guess because he knows it good enough to train other people. Maybe they have hope for the future and they want to keep him on. I don't know, but either way, shit's bad out here, man. It's
They do have a
bad.
lot
definitely.
of money, but yeah, I just put another article in the chat just talking about Facebook's VR division lost $13.72 billion in 2022.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and that
Big.
was just
Ooh,
2022.
what?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
2022. Like
That is
that's
disgusting,
pretty
bro.
brutal.
That
Um,
is.
Sounds like sounds like a lot more people should be getting fired, and they
I mean,
firing
I
the
think there
wrong
just needs to be
people.
a lot more Resident Evil games, and that might help them. But
Hey, where you putting these?
unfortunately,
Where you putting
you
these
should
things at?
see it in the like text chat. I don't know if you see it on your
Let's
I
be
phone.
don't.
real.
I don't see it.
Would you be willing to play Resident Evil 6 in VR?
Bro,
Six?
no.
Six?
Bro, nobody
Six?
paying. Nobody wants to
Oh,
play six
six?
anyway, bro.
You
Why
Oh,
said,
would
Wait.
you
oh
want to
my
play that
god.
Six,
shit?
six, or Operation Raccoon City?
Nah, bro, now you just trolling.
Either
Bro, you
one
just saying nonsense,
Either
huh?
That's
one.
a waste
in
This
of
man
a
really
VR.
just let
podcast.
nonsense come out his mouth, bro.
I
Like,
mean,
get him out of
honestly, I
here.
feel like the game would be in general overall slightly more fun because you're more, into it. Because
Would
I
like a
it
lot
be?
of
feel
my
like
gripes.
Operation Raccoon City could actually have
Isn't it?
potential in VR, but like they'd have to redo parts of the game too. Like it can't just be the same the way it was.
Oh yeah.
I just want to preface this to everybody listening, whoever you may be. Me and Rodney here, a long time ago, place far, far away, decided to do a playthrough of Operation Raccoon City, which is a Resident Evil game, and not a popular one because it was really, really rough.
Rough is an understatement.
And we were both pretty decent fans of Resident Evil, and we knew it wasn't that great, and it was still kind of fun because we were just playing it for the lulz. But
If you gotta
It
play it
had
with friends
it
for it to
had
be
some
fun, the
good
game is
parts.
bad.
Like it had some good bones, I will say that. Just all of the rest of it, horrible execution. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
the coming into Raccoon City as a squad, you know what I'm saying? Like you use
yeah, I
zombies
think
and shields because you're
I think the
fighting
premise
cops.
is
You get
interesting.
bitten, you turn. Like it was an interesting premise. Just slant six, just drill dozer straight into the dirt. Rest in
Ew.
peace, everybody who used to work at Slant Six, because they definitely closed down after that game's launch. So
Ooh.
that game did
Pretty sure they
literally put
did.
them in the coffin.
Ruin careers.
Yeah, I mean that game was rough. Did not do well.
Yeah.
Broken
But
dreams.
back
Always
to
remember that
Resident Evil.
multiplayer.
That multiplayer was very special. Back to Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is where we came from at the beginning of this.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a giant. Just to say, I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. Played pretty much every game, I think, except for Guided on the DS. Which is,
We gotta get you a
I
DS.
believe, a remake
Oh,
of the
I
original
remember
Resident
that.
Evil, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was
Yes.
okay, but I'm used to some pretty trash games, and I'm used to some really good games. And Resident Evil 4, namely, is probably the best Resident Evil game in terms of the newer ones. Like, it really depends how you want to split them up and divide them, but I would say on the overall, Resident Evil 4 is probably the best. The original specifically, just because of how well it balanced some horror with some action. I think it did a good job of keeping the atmosphere of general tension and, being scared.
Yeah.
I think they kind of, as they went on past that, they definitely get away from that more and more.
Because in 5, I feel like there was really no real tension in 5.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of
It was
parts of
just
5 where they're trying
straight
to scare
action.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun
So,
though.
it was
I
Five was
definitely
love
more
fun.
like
5.
just
5 is
a
one of my favorites, but I
co-op,
realized
just
that it is not
action.
Yeah.
it is a Resident Evil game in title only. Like there's no real horror in 5.
It's more of
Mercenaries
just
was cool because you
zombie
got the little
killing.
executioners running
Let's
around, and
be
that was a
honest.
little bit of tension filled.
5
But
was
yeah.
appreciate Sheva and
I mean, I like
shoot
the
things.
campaign and the story. Like, I like the over the top stupid action.
Was
Like,
that the one
Chris
where
punching
Buddy was
boulders
so?
was
Yeah, there you
hilarious.
go.
Upper
That was
like
the infamous
combo
boulder punching Chris Redfield.
combo
Bro,
meleeing
Chris was
people
a
was pretty cool too. Like
Yeah.
that was dope.
And then 6 happened.
Yeah, let's don't talk
Yeah.
about
I ain't even.
six.
I never even. I saw that giraffe and I was like, that ain't
And
for
the
me.
fact me
No,
and
he's
James
want the
played
logo.
it fairly recently. We
Yes.
went back and replayed 6.
Replayed
And-
Resident Evil 6,
Why?
and it was just
It
as bad as we
Because
felt
there
worse.
was
remembered.
gluttons for
It
punishment.
felt worse than it did before.
I mean,
Just horrible.
I still
I feel
think
like it's 'cause
Resident Evil
our,
6 had some stuff.
Our tastes in games are more refined now compared to when that game came out. So we're
I mean, we still thought it was bad when it came out.
yeah, but we can better. What's the
I think
word?
just now we can't justify the time we wasted on it as much.
Sound like Mario Luigi won the butt sniffing adventure with that one.
Oh yeah, we
absolutely.
definitely went
I
on.
mean,
We went on 4, but was it 4?
we actually
Three
didn't
campaigns?
finish the
4
fourth one. Yes, we managed to get
refuse to
through
play as
3
Ada.
of the main campaigns, and the Ada, which was kind of like a bonus campaign when it came out. Didn't even have co-op. They added that later.
Yeah.
We could not stomach ourselves to do that, but you know, I think the gameplay had some fun parts to it. I think the story was pretty atrocious across the board, but Resident Evil story is always kind of, you know, hammy, a little ridiculous. It was just too much, I think. Too much quantity,
Too much
not
ham.
enough quality.
too much ham, no
ham.
vegetables.
No vegetables, man.
Shut up.
They really tried to stick everything and the kitchen sink in there.
Ooh.
Every action trope possible.
Constant,
Jammed
like
into one
ridiculous
game.
over the time action scenes. And pretty
And
much
we're talking
every
It's
campaign
like
too. Like I feel
back-to-back
like they could
Michael
have,
Bay films.
yeah, like they could have differentiated them a bit more. Like they tried to. I think you get a feeling with Leon trying to make it a bit more
Leon's
scary,
was
but
the
even
best.
Leon's devolves into like ridiculous
Over the top.
action set pieces
Weren't
that
we
like,
fighting a meaty transformer at the end?
yeah, like the final
Yeah.
big spoilers, Resident Evil 6. The final boss is like a transforming meat man that like turns into a T-Rex. He turns into a giant freaking leopard monster. I think he turns into a mosquito at the end too. Like
Oh, yeah, he's like a
absolutely
giant nasty.
insane,
Yeah.
over the top. Which I mean could have been interesting if it was a relevant character, but it was like some guy they introduced for the game. They killed in that game. They never really mentioned before that
That
game.
man was a freak, bruh. Like,
He was
didn't
pretty
make
weird.
an Ada clone just to like
It was-
kind of
it
like
was-
smash on her a little bit?
I don't know the details. It was pretty weird.
No,
we're
we're
like
not
Capcom
as
standards,
well
that's-
versed in
that's
the Resident Evil series as you and Rodney are, James. But
Yeah.
do they all have? I mean, not obviously they didn't all have it, but was that the only one that had like that many multiple campaigns going on?
For that many, yes, but it was not the first time the Resident Evil dabbled into like multiple campaigns in a single game.
I feel
I'm
like
not
a
sure if
lot
something
of
came out
times
before
they just
Resident Evil
kinda
2.
stuck to 2, right?
It
Me and
was
you
usually
played
2.
one.
Yeah.
What was it? We started. Oh, we never did finish that. But what was that game we played? James.
Me? With you? What did
Yeah.
we play?
Oh, not. It was one of the main characters. She had like short hair or something. Forgot her name.
Revelations?
Was it Revel?
Two?
Yes. Yes, I think that was.
Did we
the
share a
one.
screen it?
We were both playing it, and then
You
I
probably
think it was on PS4.
Share screened it.
Might have been share
Share
screen.
scroller.
Yeah.
Were you an
we
adult?
I believe it was Revelations too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was. But I feel, was that one with multiple campaigns in it, or am I mistaken?
Yeah. I think that was those 2 campaigns as well. You followed Claire and Moira in one.
There
Then
we
you
go. Yeah.
followed Barry and the little girl's name, who I can't remember. But yeah, I think that game did a much better job of differentiating the campaigns, because in one of them, well, first it wasn't online, so it was like share screen, it was like local co-op. If you did it, because the secondary person usually just had like some kind of subsidiary ability that they used to weaken or stun or reveal enemies or something. And it was interesting. I think it was definitely better than 6. 6 was kind of balls to the wall. Every
done the
playthrough was just
action.
Like
nuts.
slamming them
Nuts.
to the wall, back to back to
Yeah.
back to back.
Yes.
Ground balls by the end of that game. Ground balls. Best way to describe it.
Mhm.
God, that game was bad. Oh boy.
But yeah.
We did have
So-
fun moments though. Like even if they were really, really shitty, like you could still have a little fun. Thank God for co-op because I would not have finished that game if there wasn't any co-op.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, probably
Good
the
job
first
on your
playthrough
part,
for me
Capcom.
is when it came out. I definitely had the time to play it. I definitely wanted to play it. I think I was excited to play it. I'm trying to remember, honestly.
I feel like you were
That's
because
bad times.
like all the memes behind it, we were like, "What are we getting ourselves into?" So there was
Yeah, I think
a
the memes
certain
hyped it
level of
up.
hype
We
to see,
love Resident
like,
Evil
how
5. I
bad
love Resident
it was
Evil
gonna
5.
be.
Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
was the only one I
Shep was
really
my favorite
owned.
character,
It was the first
baby.
one I owned.
yeah, Shep was
Sheva
a lot of people's favorite
Alomar.
character. I love Chris. It was like Chris's big return to the series since like Code Veronica.
I like Chris too.
Yeah.
Chris is cool.
That shit was
He's
fun.
a badass, buff badass.
Yeah.
Chris is
Actually, I
yeah.
like all the characters really. Like Wesker, Jill, Claire, Leon. They're all
Bro,
more or less
Wesker definitely
badasses in
beat
their
the
own
shit out
way.
of me at the end of 5 quite a few times.
Yeah, man. I mean,
You mean like that
I
global
think
saturation?
Resident Evil 5 was just. I think it definitely lost the horror aspect. I don't think necessarily because it was co-op. I think it still could have tried to have been
Yeah, because the
scary
DLC
in
had
co-op.
horror. Like when you had to go to
Yeah,
the
it had
mansion
minor
and you had
horror
to separate.
Yeah,
Like,
they could have done
added
other stuff
more.
too.
Yeah.
There
More
was
separated
DLC for that
parts,
game?
maybe more just. There was a couple, I believe. There was a bunch of multiplayer
two.
DLC as well.
Oh, the multiplayer
You
in that
had,
one was actually pretty decent. I remember.
The mercenaries, yeah.
It's like the one and only good time
You
that I played
had-
some shit.
You had the mansion where you replayed pretty much the cutscene where Jill got abducted, and then you had the other one where you played as what's his name, Jacob?
I believe so.
One of the you played as Jacob, and I think
It was
someone else.
the person who trained Sheva.
Yeah,
You play as him and Jill. Pretty much after they
that was
split up
after
with
you
Chris and
rescued her,
Sheva. Yeah. And I mean those are pretty good. But I mean they definitely could have did more horror, but I think for what the game was, it was very fun. I think they realized people really liked the action parts of it without the horror, and they just kind of like, well, we don't need, we probably don't
Oh, they
need.
went 100%.
Yeah, they went overboard big time with it. With it.
Oh boy.
Even Resident Evil 5, I think, could
Overcompensating.
stand for some improvement. Because when you
Yeah.
compare it to Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 4 came out in the now ancient times of 2004, which
Oh,
almost brings a tear to my eye saying that. I
have
remember.
coworkers who were
Holy
born in
shit,
2001.
Yeah, man. I remember.
It makes me feel
I was still in the place I was in now,
Whoa.
but I was a lot younger. I think we might have just moved there, actually. And it was the first game I ever stood up till like 5 o'clock in the morning playing. Because it was just so like enthralling. It was on a weekend, of course. I was a good little boy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sitting there playing and I was just like blown away above the game. Everything about the game. I remember leading up to the release, I was going to GameStop and they had a demo.
Stop.
GameStop. This was back when GameStop was still. I mean, I don't even think it was that popular then, honestly, but it was the only place you go get games, pretty much, in New York City. Like,
Well, actually, no, they probably didn't have.
I don't know if
Game
I don't
Crazy
think they had Game
existed.
Crazy in New York City.
Bro,
Yeah.
I forget. What about what was it?
Had
Funko
EB
Land?
Games as
No,
well.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
EB
remember
Games
that
was
what
one.
was the
too.
name of that? Hollywood Video. You could get games from too.
Yeah, Hollywood Video.
I
and then
mean,
the separate part of Hollywood
When did
Video was Game
Blockbuster
Crazy.
stop being a thing?
When Netflix started popping off, just
Yeah,
kinda-
it was like 2010. They probably like ended for real.
Finally shut down. I mean, I was definitely going to Blockbuster renting games for a while, but I don't
was
remember
the last
seeing.
Blockbuster.
Okay, I mean, that
Yeah,
lasted
but
way
they
longer
weren't
than I
relevant for
thought.
those last 4 years for sure, bro.
Yeah.
Netflix ended their career, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever went to a Blockbuster to see Resident Evil 4, which was back in like 2004 or 5, like early 2005, maybe late 2004. I saw it in GameStop. There was a demo up. Bunch of people like waiting around it. I waited in line. I got to play it, and I was just like, everyone was standing watching, like would watch everyone else play it because it was just crazy that you could like aim the gun over the shoulder. It would zoom in. You would manually aim it. Like that was such a that was such a new concept, and it was so well done in the game. Like it just felt good to play like immediately, and the enemies immediately reacted to where you shot them, which was completely different than any other Resident Evil game. Like every other Resident Evil game was a top-down, fixed camera, tank control, like just straight up survival horror game, and now it was like you're in control of the action, the enemies are more responsive, your characters are more responsive than they've ever been, even though, you know, you look at it now and it's kind of like hilariously unresponsive. You couldn't move while you shot. You couldn't like reload and move. But like at the time, like that was crazy. And it was just really fun, really interesting, and it had great pacing. Like the whole way through, you were constantly interested in what was happening. It never like really felt like you were going through any boring or bland sections of the game. I just kept it moving, and it kept it moving for a while. Like I want to say that game was probably at least 12 hours long, which I felt like was significantly longer than any other Resident Evil game before that. So, I mean, it was just really a very special game, I think, in gaming history. So, for the remake to come out 20 years later, my God.
Whew.
No.
Give me his pants over there.
Got pretty big shoes to fill, right? I definitely would not want to be put in those shoes to do that. That would be pretty terrifying. But I do think overall, it's a really good game. Like I think the remake is excellent on a lot of things. I think it really tried to capture a lot of the original stuff. It did a pretty good job of doing it. Do I think it's perfect? I think it's like the second coming of the Resident Evil 4 that I played 20 years ago. No, it definitely isn't. I don't think it can be anymore, because unless it somehow reinvented the wheel again, I don't know how they would have done that, but like obviously it's not going to capture that. But overall I think it was pretty good. I think the pros of it were, of course, the graphical fidelity of the new engine they're using is just phenomenal. The game looks super good. I think they did a great job reintroducing characters that were almost irrelevant before, like some of the side characters like Luis, Ashley, even Ashley, who was like pretty much the main objective of the whole game. I feel like the original was more of just like a side character, like she was barely in it. In the remake, I think they do a really good job of fleshing her out more, making her more interesting.
Definitely made them feel more alive this time around.
More of a character with a personality. Interact with Leon a bit more. I think Leon's not as much of an action hero straight out of the 80s anymore, and he's more of a kind of a normal dude with some like deep-seated problems, obviously, from going through like absolutely traumatic events. Which I think, for the experience you're trying to go for, it's good. I think it's really good. Do I think that should have been the experience they went for? Maybe. Maybe not. Like, I think the original still... The fact that I can still say the original has its own merits over the remake still, because it's so goofy, it's so, like, not caring in the dialogue. Like, it's just saying things that are funny, or saying things that are ridiculous, or saying things that you just think are cool in the moment. I think that still has a place. I think that could still be made today, honestly. And I still think that could be fun. It has charm. I think the charm still hasn't worn off. I think you can still go back and play that game today and still have fun with it, for sure. But I am glad they remade it. I'm glad it's super good, and I'm glad I got the chance to play it.
Oh, that's fair. Now, was this the same? Now, I know when it comes to remakes, we had 2, 3, and now 4. Was this the team that did 2, or was it the team that did 3?
This is. I'm pretty sure it's a team that did 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
3 was outsourced.
3, man.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the company that was outsourced.
I'm not sure either. That if anyone doesn't know this, who's listening to this, Capcom is like a multi-division company. Like they have a bunch of groups making different games, right? They have people who do their fighting game stuff, the people who do Resident Evil, people who do Monster Hunter. All their big franchises have like different groups. when they decided to remake Resident Evil 2, which is like the first of the big remakes of the modern stuff. Because before that, they remade Resident Evil 1, which I still think is an excellent remake, but like, they should totally remake that again. Wink, wink. That'd be really cool. But they decided to remake Resident Evil 2. I'm pretty sure it was like the core team behind Resident Evil 7, which is important because Resident Evil 7 kind of saved Resident Evil in a lot of ways because it was so popular after being such a different thing from Resident Evil 6, and how, as we just discussed earlier, dividing Resident Evil 6 was, I guess I should say. It was not well received as much. I think it sold pretty good because it was a Resident Evil game. It was brand new.
Because I feel like people were riding off the hype of the previous ones.
Yeah.
And so, it was kind of a negative outlook going forward. So Resident Evil 7, I don't even think they revealed it as Resident Evil 7 initially. I think they did a big surprise. They showed like a first-person horror game. And they're like, "What the hell is this? This is crazy. Some weird South United States setting. This is kind of weird." And then the Resident Evil 7 logo pops up. I'm pretty sure. I think it's at Biohazard with the 7 in the name. And luckily it was pretty good. The people who made it clearly knew what they were doing. Got some scariness back. It kept some of the action. Kept some of the hamminess. It was pretty cool. So I'm pretty sure those dudes immediately went on to make the remake of Resident Evil 2, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been wanting that for a long time. I don't even know Resident Evil 2 came out, 1998, probably? I think Resident Evil 2's remake came out in, 2019? So 20 years for that, too? Damn, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But that game was excellent as well. So they got those guys. I'm assuming they had to go work on Resident Evil 8, and eventually they knew they were going to get to 4. And Resident Evil 3 was always kind of a awkward stepchild in the Resident Evil franchise. I don't think it was originally supposed to be Resident Evil 3, but the game they made, I think they developed a year after the original Resident Evil 2, and it was ready to go. So they just put 3 on it to keep the product line going or something like that. Not entirely sure, but not a lot of people liked Resident Evil 3, and there's a bunch of people who really did like Resident Evil 3, the classic specifically. So, maybe they saw that as a chance for them to not have to focus on it as much, so they can keep their stronger teams on what is easily the more popular game, Resident Evil 4, or the next mainline installment, which would be Resident Evil 8. So they tried to outsource it to another company they were looking at, I guess, to work with. That, unfortunately, I don't think went over very well because Resident Evil 3 is very short, does not have a lot of the stuff from the old game that people liked. It doesn't even have the subtitle from the original game, which was Nemesis, and that's for good reason. Nemesis is barely in that game. And, that kind of sucks. But
they cut out, I feel like they cut out the guts of the game. They cut out majority of the game. There were whole parts in the original 3 that they just skipped over. It didn't help that Nemesis was really only around in scripted events, when in the original, that man popped out whenever he felt like it, and he rushed you down because he was trying to clap cheeks.
Yeah. So, I think it was scripted events too, but it was way more frequent, and there was a whole choice system of dealing with him, and it was just a lot better fleshed out in that game. It felt like the whole game was about Nemesis coming after you, as opposed to this one. It just kind of felt like you're just going forward on a roller coaster.
And this one, it's you go down the corridor, you make a left, you know he's gonna be there.
Oh, Nemesis is here. Oh, you shot him. He's down. Up you leave. He's gone.
Yeah, and then it's done.
Okay.
And it's I remember one part specifically where he's behind you, but obviously they don't show it. So he's running after you down a corridor, and he's swinging and shooting shit, but you don't see it. So it's kind of if he swings at me, how the fuck am I supposed to dodge it?
Yeah.
But it was a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog syndrome right there.
Just kind of.
You'll understand what I mean one day when we talk about some other,
talk about some other stuff.
Stellar games, yeah.
Stellar.
But yeah, so. No.
Shut up.
Yeah, Resident Evil. It's looking pretty cool. I'm glad they're doing what they're
definitely
doing,
had
even
a
with that.
very interesting past.
Super interesting past.
I'm hoping it has just as interesting.
I'd
future,
love to talk
considering all
about
the success.
Love to talk about those games. Do a playthrough, maybe just make a video about it. I think that would be super interesting later. If that interests anybody, let me know. But
I
think I
would
talked
definitely
about.
be down.
I think I talked about my stuff enough. Rodney, if you'd like to go ahead, what have you been up to? What games you've been playing?
I've been playing a lot of shit. 4, of course. I actually just beat it yesterday. Been playing Resident Evil 4, Monster Hunter Rise, Apex. It's just been all over the place, but for the most part, I really, really enjoy it. Like, I love when games can make me feel anxious, especially when they're supposed to. And I feel like Resident Evil 4 definitely encapsulates the anxiousness almost as much as the 2 remake did with Mr. X.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the constant threats, like the what was it? I forget the names of the blind dudes.
The lickers.
In 4, the ones with the claws.
Oh, the Garradors.
Yes, I really like that. The part where you're in there and you pretty much have to avoid the little hanging charms.
Yeah.
To keep him from hearing you. I like stuff like that where you can't just bum rush your way through.
Mm-hmm.
Just fuck everything up in a moment's notice.
Yeah, definitely limiting the player has always been a strong suit of Resident Evil. Like they've always done that pretty well.
The gameplay was good, of course. Gunplay was good. I wish that they would have just made the laser sight able to be put on anything. But I'm pretty sure they did that as a balancing mechanism for the stronger weapons.
Yeah.
Which,
they definitely balanced the game with the guns out.
Yeah. So, I don't blame them for it. I just wish that at least give me, after I beat the game, give me an option.
Yeah, it still looks cool.
To turn it on.
It's always gonna look
cool. I love the laser sight. Laser sight is the best. And you can actually see where the bullet is going to go instead of, random bloom, which kind of sucks when you have the crosshairs random bloom enemy and you miss. But
random bloom I've never liked in a game.
I know it's part of your most hated game of all time, Fortnite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who was most hated?
Infamous.
Okay. Oh, I was like, I hate.
There's a lot of.
If it wasn't for the characters in that game, I wouldn't touch it. This is
not so much the game as the
too much thickness.
The business model that's been perpetrated by it. But
hey, kids can find money.
Kids can always
not theirs, but they can find money. Chun-Li, they knew what they were doing.
Speaking
of, God, they knew what they were doing.
Speaking of battle royale games and that whole thing, which personally I've never been into very much. Dabbled in like Warzone a little bit, Call of Duty. Not really my cup of tea. You mentioned you were playing Apex. I know Denzel played Apex. I know Lerone watches Apex a little bit.
He watches us play it so he can be disrespectful.
Oh, I can talk mad shit.
Yeah. How do you feel about that game?
Honestly,
like going downhill.
I agree with you in the take where honestly I can't stand the battle royale. What do I want to say? The ebb and flow of a battle royale. Like I hate dying and being sent back to the menu screen essentially to have to start up a game to queue to matchmake into another game to potentially get caught lacking as soon as I land to repeat the process again. I hate it.
But that's part of the fun.
It's not fun. Like
no, it's fun
making me not play the game. Bro, that's awful. Like I want to respawn. Like I like Titanfall. I like the guts of Titanfall. That's why I play Apex, because Apex feels like Titanfall minus a couple of yes. And I'm like, I want Titanfall 3. That's what I want. I don't want to play
Apex.
Bro,
we damn near never getting that, bro. Like, oh,
I didn't work on it. Am I wrong?
No,
I think they closed down the group of people that were working on it.
Oh no!
Hey, something detrimental happened. I don't remember exactly what it was, but something detrimental happened.
A bunch of detrimental stuff happened. I feel like it's like a series of
unfortunate
it's a
events.
domino effect of a bunch of bad decisions, and then people being moved to kind of fix those bad decisions.
So Titanfall, this is from Forbes. Both Titanfall and Apex Legends fans mourn the reports that EA just canceled a big single-player game set in the shared universe of both series. So that's what they probably were referring to. But we gonna see, because that could have been Titanfall 3, man. You know, because Titanfall 2 had a really good like single player, like crazy good.
Titanfall 2 was amazing overall. I just wish they didn't squeeze it right in between two of the biggest at the time first-person shooters.
Yeah, they put it out rough time. I don't remember them marketing it. What? Maybe they did, but
I mean, I remember seeing commercials. I did see commercials and ads for it.
It didn't matter. There was no competition.
You said, it's smack dab in the middle of Battlefield, back when Battlefield was still good, and Call of Duty, which sells
Call of Duty, the ever-present juggernaut of money making.
Yeah. So
I mean, it also didn't help that they kind of like, it was a good thing that Titanfall 2 was finally on both consoles, but they really shot themselves in the foot. Respawn was they misstepped so bad. They didn't realize how much the PS4 was gonna dominate that console generation, making the deal with Xbox to, like, you know, have it be an exclusive. I honestly think if they had put Titanfall 1 as an exclusive on PlayStation, bro, Titanfall would be a much bigger fucking franchise right now. It will be way bigger, bro, because they really screwed the pooch on that one. It was just like double down, fuck up.
A lot of mistakes.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, the battle royale genre, I know Denzel, I think, follows it a bit more. What do you think about that? What's going on?
Oh, I've been following battle royale since that shit was in Minecraft, bro. That was the OG battle royale. Hunger Games.
I guess I did enjoy watching that.
Everdeen, bro. What are you talking about? Oh no, like I used to love it so much, but now it's like kind of died down for me a little bit, because I used to play more of like the TDM and like domination type stuff from Call of Duty, but you know, honestly, battle royales were a breath of fresh air for a long time, you know, but now because everybody wants to do it, it's just like getting kind of stale, because there's not anything new being added. It's just everybody trying to rehash and redo what's already been done. You know,
get saturated.
Exactly. You know, Fortnite did it first, really. Like, they did it the first best way. And everybody else just tried to copy them. And some made it, some didn't. I mean, there's some battle royales that I played that literally don't exist anymore because nobody plays that shit anymore.
That one you had us all download that we played once.
Spellbreak?
No, that one too. The other one what was it made by Ubisoft?
Oh, like not Hyperlight Drifter.
Hyperscape or something like that.
Hyperscape, yeah.
Boy, we don't even talk about that one, bro. Oh my god! But you know, I gotta we're just gonna let that one die where it is. But they also came up on that game so easy. No, I don't think they all need to go.
What you mean? We're on Blood Hunt, y'all. That wasn't the best.
Bro, that game.
Oh man! All right, we'll wait for that for Lerone to start talking.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But for sure though, it's been some really good ones, and I gotta. People are gonna be like, bro, what are you talking about? It wasn't Fortnite? Yeah, it definitely wasn't Fortnite. You know, it started with PUBG. You know, the DayZ type scene, all of that good stuff. But nobody can deny that, you know, Fortnite took battle royales to the mainstream more than anything else. And even though I don't play Fortnite like that anymore, I used to play it heavy, super heavy, loved it. I just feel like it's kind of evolved into something else entirely at this point. I mean,
Maybe it's just because I
honestly,
was bad at like I could never get into like shooting. Shooting things is fine. Shooting things don't change. It's the you get hit with one bullet, all of a sudden somebody built the Eiffel Tower under their feet in like 3 seconds is what I couldn't. I didn't feel
you,
like dealing with it.
you got to get good,
Like,
kid. What do you mean?
bro, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm fucking 30, bro. I ain't got the
Yeah.
reflexes for this shit.
Thirty?
Time is
I'm finna hit
age,
30,
aging
bro.
ourselves.
Yeah.
We're all getting older. I mean, I still think could have been interesting. I don't know why I really just didn't like it. I think something really put me off. I think it was really the monetization and how that was breaking into the scene during the time, and that game
no.
really,
That's fair.
You gotta
really
think
brought
about
it to the
though.
surface.
You gotta think about it though. Like Fortnite is actually the most reasonable. Like
Yeah,
of any
because
of these other
they do
because
give you a lot of free stuff, and they give you a lot of I won't say refundable, but like if you buy a pass, you'll get your money's worth and then some, which I feel like most battle passes didn't do.
oh
Yeah, did you say
no.
you could
Apex
buy
didn't even do
the
it
next
at the
pass with
beginning.
the pass you bought?
Yeah, you could buy the
Yeah,
next
as long as
pass
you
with
made
the
it to the
coins you
end, you
got
got the
in the
next
battle
one.
pass.
Yeah,
So it
we're
was
not. Can't,
and they gave a lot of stuff out for free, like a lot of nice skins and stuff, which most games do not do as well. Like I feel like Apex caught on a little bit, but like
oh
everybody
hell
hated
no,
the first like three
nah,
battle
bro,
passes
no,
because
no,
there
no,
was
no, no, no,
literally
no.
nothing in them.
No, I can't.
But
I can't even let you
objection.
cook on that one. I can't even let you cook on that one.
What are
Apex,
you talking about?
any other battle pass has always been a failure in comparison to Fortnite for one reason, right? These games that have legends and specific characters cannot compete with Fortnite, which allows you to put a skin on whoever because you don't have a fucking set person. It's just that skin, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
So
don't have as
you're
much
getting the
freedom when you do it.
full value of the battle pass every single time because every skin you can use. You can look cool as shit. You can change it up. You can tell your friends you got this skin. That's why it's so big in schools.
if I
Like you
didn't
look
know
at
you, I think they were paying you.
Hey, look. No, 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 no.
He's
Because this
spitting
is
though.
I want to say this because the way that every other game does it, I'm gonna talk about Overwatch in a little bit because they're fucking egregious. I cannot
Oh,
believe these motherfuckers. But Apex will never be able to do it in the same way because there's just so many legends. Unless they made a specific skin for every legend and gave you that shit when you got to that rank in the battle pass, it would never be the same. And they're never gonna do that. And it's so much worse for them charging $20 for each of those skins and doing the battle pass the way that it is because
Yeah.
it's just not as valuable. And just a quick note about Overwatch, bro. These bitch ass motherfuckers, bro. Ain't no way. You know how we were just every other major game like Apex, I'll still give it to them. Like if you get to the end of the battle pass, you can buy another battle pass. Fortnite, they started it. You get to the end of the battle pass, you can buy another battle pass. These motherfuckers on Overwatch 2 said, yeah, you get to the end of the battle pass, pay us again. Pay us for another one, bro. We don't care. We don't care about none of that. I need that. I need that 10. And they raised it the highest of any of them. It's always been $9.50, right? These motherfuckers said we want the whole 10. We want the whole 10, bro. Give me that 50 cents too, G. I'm like, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way they really sat up here and did this.
They came up in here and asked me for my 50 cent and I wasn't having it.
Bro, they said
Nah,
not
son.
only are we not giving you another battle pass at the end of this one, you gonna give us the full $10. It's just a slap in the face, and you don't get as much from it because it suffers from the same issue that Apex does. It's fucking specific character content that you're getting. Like, nah,
Honestly, I feel
bro.
like Overwatch is probably one of the worst.
Bro,
Just
Overwatch needs to
because
burn for that. I ain't gonna lie. I find it hard.
I agree with you because I find myself not able to play it, and they
Yeah.
knew what they were doing when they ceased function of the first one because they knew people would go back to it once they realized what their only option would be. So I mean, I fully understand you because the fact that we got rid of loot boxes, but you made skins cost $30. And you made
$30,
it so if I
$20.
wanted to play the game and get it through progression of the game, it would take me like a year and a half to get one legendary. And then they took the currency you had from the first one, let you buy a couple things, and then got rid of the rest of it.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's kind of going off of what Dazelle was talking about when it came to like, there's be a specific characters, not just like universal skins, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they implemented a whole new tier of like mythic level skins, and then right after that, I think 2 of the battle pass mythic skins were like for new characters.
Yeah.
So you have all these legacy players, and I think the only skin they had was what, Genji's?
Yes.
Because you had Junker King and you had Kiriko.
Yeah.
I think that. So it's like, I think the new one is even what's his name? The telekinetic dude with the ball head, the tank.
Sigma?
Sigma, yeah, he got
the one that walk around with no shoes.
Yeah,
yeah, floats around.
I mean, his feet still hanging out.
So like 3 of the 4 mythic skins in the entire game belong to characters that were even in the base roster.
Brand new characters. Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to try to promote the newer characters. They definitely want to try to promote you spending money. But yeah, it's kind of like a slap in the face of the people who've been playing your game all the time.
Like the Widow Maze, rest in peace to y'all, but god damn.
Yeah.
I mean, they took a slot away, so it's 5v5, and then nerfed all the players because they don't know how to balance. And then it's not fun. Nothing about it is fun anymore to me.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It wasn't for the, I really hate myself for it, but I did pay $10 for that Diva skin just because I'm a Diva like fan. That shit broke my heart. I really didn't want to do it, but like I wanted that skin, and it gave me some money for the battle pass, so I did it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what my problem was with all those games. Instantly, it was just like I was so used to being able to buy a game and get everything in the game and playing it, and like it just kind of stopped happening, and that really just made me feel not good about playing a lot of those games. Like I feel like I was doing something wrong, immoral, even because it was just such an obvious money grinding tactic. Obviously, they have to make money. They're putting the game out free. They're trying to hit a bigger audience, but
it's like
going off of
what Rodney was kind of talking about for a little bit. It's like Overwatch 1, you could at least earn loot boxes. Now, loot boxes are still bad. Don't get me wrong; it's still bad.
Yeah, agreed.
But you can at least earn. You can't with them going. You can't earn the rewards. Yeah. All you do is get like XP. That does what, like arbitrary, like raise your rank.
More or less, you have to pay. Now,
yeah, you have to.
Instead of having the option of building up the currency that they gave you pretty frequently. Because I never spent a dime outside buying the game, and we just got whatever we wanted really out of loot boxes. And
yeah, you played them.
And maybe they've changed it by now. The game still being updated.
I'm pretty sure it's still the
No, I think they still got the free. Yeah, I think it's still like the free pass that everyone gets. And like the rewards, the maximum rewards you get from the free pass still don't hold candle to like getting a legendary in the loot box in the old version. So like you still, so like you said, you gotta buy the actual battle pass for it.
I'm curious to see what's doing better for them. Like maybe it's still just doing better just because of how profitable
I'm curious to see their numbers.
Style of money generation is.
I'm sure they're okay, but I'm pretty sure most people would just prefer to pay $60 for the game and be able to unlock shit.
Always
dealing with this this nonsense.
I would rather pay full price than get it for free and have to spend quadruple what full price would have been to get a.
Maybe there should be an option for that.
They'll never do that though, because they're doubling down on making you spend all this money on, the stuff that you want to get. So like they're like, well, we'll give you the game. It's like, bro, it's like drugs in the 90s, bro. They give you a bump for free. You get a bump for free up front.
Wait. Who was giving a bump for free?
Bro, you ain't watched Snowfall. You ain't watched BMF. Bro, they give you the first rock for free and then after that, you gotta pay. You know what I'm saying? That's the same way that they operate in these games, these free play games. They give you a little bit. No, they're legitimately giving you some dopamine. You play the game, it's free. You're like, oh, this is awesome. Oh, you want to make it even better? Yeah, go ahead and give us $20 for this skin. Go ahead and give us $10.
I mean, it is largely the same idea, but I think you can also compare it to like subscription models they do now for like Adobe and stuff, where you can purchase. Maybe not for Adobe, you can purchase
Adobe anymore.
Yeah, but like other things, I know you can have like a instant buy to gain access to everything. That's like way more money, but you just get it as opposed to having to pay it monthly.
Yeah, and that could be a whole podcast in itself. Just the monetization of the gaming industry.
Oh yeah, dude,
I mean, we got plenty of episodes, baby. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Stick around because shit's gonna get real good.
Yeah. But just to keep it moving here, any other games you want to touch on, Rodney?
Like I said, Resident Evil 4, I would consider it a astounding success. There are obvious differences from the original, where I'd honestly rather play the original, but overall, I would give it like an 8, maybe a 9 out of 10. I definitely will be playing it again because I want to run through it on higher difficulties. Like that's one of the Resident Evil games are one of the few games I will always go back and replay them because they're just that enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But all right. Denzel, what you got?
All right. Well, currently I'm playing the Rat PG, also known as Tales of Iron. It is a indie title, I believe. It got released onto PlayStation for free. I wanted to check it out, see what it was hitting for, and it's actually pretty fun. A decent little fighting mechanism, or the way that the fighting is in the game is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like rock paper scissors, but at the same time, it does take some real time strategy as well as being able to react. So pretty fun. Other than this, definitely have been lagging behind super hard on Horizon, the second one. Yeah, still haven't beat that game, so that's definitely the other one I've been playing a bit. I really want to get to Burning Shores whenever that happens. Hopefully pretty soon. But other than that,
I think that's releasing.
No, it's out. It's out. I just have to beat the game first before I start doing the DLC. So, other than that, yeah, those are the main two, and like just Apex to come back from work so I can stomp on some kids and enjoy Goomba stomp them. Goomba stomping, bro.
As good as you think it does, Denzel.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you making it sound worse than it is. So,
okay.
I'm out here, who you think is the majority of people playing
stomping out kids?
Yeah, bro. I hit them with the R9, they start to whine, you know what I'm saying? They cry.
All right, calm down.
Yeah,
calm down. His skills are too powerful for this podcast.
Bro, skillet is up.
What? Have you played the original Horizon?
Yeah, I played it and I beat it. It was.
What did you think of that?
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought that the story was really interesting. I thought that Aloy was a really good protagonist. The only real issue I had with the game was just it's a lot of reading. Like it's not. There's so much lore that they have that is an insane amount. Like you can go through a dungeon area and then look for everything, and like you can spend easily. Like you can finish the dungeon if you just go through it in like 15 minutes. You go through and read every single thing. I feel like it takes like 40. Right, so and there's like stuff like that all the time, all the way through the game. Every character has so much dialogue that you could get their entire backstory. Like it's just a lot to listen to, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just like it definitely adds on to the time for the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall though, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Who doesn't like giant robot fucking dinosaurs?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember playing it pretty thoroughly enjoying it. The combat was pretty good. The melee combat was kind of rough. I'm pretty sure they improved that on the sequel.
Super rough in the first one, way better in the second one.
Yeah, so that's cool. The characters are great. I think the story was excellent. It's very interesting. I've not played the second one. Definitely looking forward to trying it out.
Yeah, I think it's free. I think it's about to be free. It's not. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I mean, I'll definitely.
I'm gonna double check. But I feel like.
Oh,
maybe no. I think that was a trial, or was it? Is it free? I'm not sure.
No, I got it for free. Due to I had a friend who got a code because I guess he bought like a special edition of the PS5 or something, but he doesn't play Horizon, so he gave it to me.
Oh,
so I do have it, and I do need to eventually play that.
Yeah.
I need to beat both of them. I started the first one, haven't finished it. Need to go back.
Yeah, pretty good. First one first.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not finna go from 2 to 1 because then you get to see all the glaring issues and improvements.
Yeah, you definitely get a much worse.
I did that with Kingdom Hearts, and I hated Kingdom Hearts 1. I ain't even finna lie. We ain't even finna get into
Kingdom Hearts 1.
That's great for another day.
Kingdom Hearts 1 compared to 2 are night and day. That's what I mean.
Kingdom Hearts is going to be an episode in of itself,
bro. But
we're not gonna talk about 3. Stop it. Stop it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
But yeah, that's.
We might go a little bit more than podcast on that one, honestly, because I know there's a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans, and I know amongst this group there are also a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans. I think that would be very interesting to delve into, especially since it has a very interesting and I don't know what the word would be, but not great development backstory, I will say. Either way, so those been enjoying Horizon, Apex, that's cool, and the Rad RPG. Definitely tell us more about that in the future. I'm definitely interested in that.
For sure.
Lerone, what you got?
Man, look. I just been chilling at yours and waiting for Final Fantasy 16 to drop, man.
Oh yes, this is perfect because pretty much one of the big game genres we haven't touched on are MMORPGs. So,
oh yeah,
you're a big player of Final Fantasy 14. You know we have a couple of reformed addicts in here.
How many hours you got, buddy?
Reformed addicts.
How many hours
you got, buddy? I'm still an addict,
boy.
Yeah.
No, we don't got hours. We got days, bro.
How many days you got played?
It's at 85 last time I checked.
85
because I still have it in my calculator. Hold up, because I want to give you the exact number. Yes, I'm finna put you out there, my boy. Hold up.
Wasn't it double the time me and Rodney had together?
It was 85. Yep, 85.
85 days.
How many hours is that?
Which equals 2,040 hours.
Hey, look,
that's a lot.
I think I had.
We both had half. I think I
had 1,200 or something like that.
50.
Look, I know I got more than both of y'all on my PS5 to playtime alone. That stuff's like 1405.
Hey,
yeah, we started on PS4.
Yeah,
we did start on PS4.
Good old days.
Good lord.
That was during we started to really play Final Fantasy 14 for anyone who doesn't know.
Of COVID.
Pandemic.
Yeah, we played pandemic because we all had time off. We had plenty of time to play, and I'm pretty sure I was the one who was like, I always wanted to try Final Fantasy 14. I think because I was really wanting a Final Fantasy game.
The critically acclaimed,
Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, the critically acclaimed expansion Heaven's Word was free to play up to level 60, and you could do it right then and there. So we did. And I really liked it. I thought the story was really excellent, for the most part. But
there was some
definitely jank spots, and we started playing. We got to basically the end of the game, and I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, we all were Final Fantasy fans before that. I thought it was pretty good, but then to get to the actual initial expansion, there was a really rough patch of main scenario quest.
Whoa. I can't believe you did that.
I think it was
essentially a filler arc in between each major expansion. And
yes, like they did a bunch of patches leading up to the first one.
It was
The heavens were.
It was like 100-something missions, wasn't it?
It was 100+ missions. It might have been.
I think it was like
close to
140 or something like that.
It was a lot.
That was
140.
Substantial. It was
I think I made it to like
substantial.
80, and I was just like, nah.
I think me and Denzel were ahead of everybody at first. Lerone didn't actually like the game at first.
Oh no,
And
yeah.
then-
Lerone quit the same day.
At level 15,
This man
G.
quit, bruh. I was like, hate to see
What was
it.
it? Oh, Railway-born Arcanist? That is not a fun time.
That was the
playing.
Black Mage pre-class, right?
No, that was the Scholar.
That was the
No, that
Scholar.
was
You
definitely
running around with the
the
little
Black Mage.
carbuncles, playing Pokemon in the
Oh,
field,
was it?
getting jumped. You try to mind your
I mean,
business.
to
he
be
just run
fair,
off
I
with
feel like
ammo or
you
everything.
picked one of the worst classes to start off as.
Hey,
Look,
I mean, to be fair, I did too, because Monk was fucking garbage. Oh my god, Monk was awful, bro.
I still have my feelings about the monk, but that's just because I'm bad. But
I mean, they made the monk do damage now. Like, at least I can
Yeah.
take that.
yeah. Point is,
Every-
we were
every-
going through the game. We got to the post game. I don't remember what class I was playing to get through it. I want to say the paladin. Maybe I was a samurai when I got there. I think that was later because samurai wasn't initial. I was probably
Samurai,
a paladin.
you
I
didn't
was a
unlock till
dragoon.
level
How could I
50.
forget?
Yeah,
I was a
we were
dragoon.
both dragoons.
Yeah, we were dragoons.
put
I
them
wanted
off
to
the map.
DPS.
Dragoon
and-
buddies, bro.
I thought it was pretty fun, and Zelda was pretty fun. We were going through it, grinding it
Brothers of
out.
Suicide.
Yeah, we got to the end. Rodney was coming up. Lerone came back. He was getting into it. We had a couple of other friends playing, getting into it. We were all playing, and then we got to the post game. Me and Denzel started to notice a little change in the quality of storytelling and stuff you were doing, and the fact there was no voice acting anymore. So like, this is starting to kind of drain here. How many quests do I got to do to get to Heaven's? Got the list eventually, and it was like 100+ quests to get here. Everyone was talking about it's like the roughest part of the game. You have to get through it to get to the DLC because the DLC is really good, or you could just skip it with a purchase. So
that shit, buddy.
me being like I said, I'm an honest gamer here. I like to buy things and then
Chad.
get what I get. I just played through it, and it was pretty trash for the most part. There's a lot of boring MMORPG fetch quests. It was really rough. But there were some interesting side stuff going on. Like, it's a whole character that you pretty much just miss out on entirely if you don't.
Moonbreeder.
Bro, that
Moonbreeder,
bitch
which
is
was a
irrelevant, bro.
side
Let's be
character.
honest.
She was a
came
very
up-
important
she came up
character.
one more
She
time
helps
after
you.
that.
She helps you out in a. I mean, they closed her arc in Walker when you met her parents.
Yeah, like
Well,
she's
she
a
was important
pretty
enough for that.
well. They made her relevant much like as time went on.
Yeah.
Like that was a character you just completely miss if you skip that. And that's unfortunate. I wish they would have,
Yeah.
because they did eventually go back and shorten this really bad band of quests, but it's still kind of rough. But I would wish they would take the best part of that, probably her quest line, the stuff you were doing with her, spruce it up a bit, maybe put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, they've been
I think that was pretty
streamlining a lot of the older content, haven't they?
I believe so. Yeah. But yeah, more to Lerone. What is your like? Why do you like playing it so much?
Man, at this point, I don't even know. It's like,
gives
all
him
right, so
something
you
to
ever? It's the same energy because when you get to the post game stuff, like post side mission, post expansion, whatever, you just get a whole bunch of just like stuff to like build an island now. If you were fortunate enough to get a house, you can work on that, or you could do a side job. Be a blue mage, Rodney. You could do that. Go collect your skills.
Yeah,
But-
I was helping you.
Right. We were in
So-
the trenches.
So
But the thing
basically, you
is-
want to live the millennial dream.
Right. But no, honestly, it's just the fact that it's a game where you're. So you ever have those times where you like have a comfort game like the Animal Crossing, where you want to put that up, just relax for a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best when you beat the game and you just wait for the next patch to come out, whatever. It's like a background noise of video games, pretty much. There's not much you gotta do. The stakes aren't super high anymore, and you try to save the world for a bit. Just
feeling good,
Just kind of chill.
feeling good,
Yeah.
collecting
basking in your
island-
accomplishments.
Yep, fishing.
Yeah. Fishing.
This man
Mine
went on a
actually
whole
doing fishing in
adventure
MMO.
fishing. He terraformed an entire planet fishing.
Yes.
pretty cool.
Like,
what
the
made
thing
you?
I will say about Final Fantasy is that no matter what you do, they make it feel rewarding. I will give them that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like,
matters.
we've played our fair share of MMOs, and it's like from the early days when me and Dazelle started off with the game and ruined everything, which was Maple Story. Ooh,
Maple Story.
Bad in that game. That's the root of all evil right there. We're really talking about it.
That would be another interesting thing to talk about, honestly, for a video even. But yeah, continue.
Yeah.
Already got the title, Root of All Evil.
Root of All Evil. It was definitely Maple Story, but again, that's a episode for the future. But it's just I've seen different types of MMO. You got your turn-based ones. You got the best combat ever, which was Vindictus. But again, it got the evil hand and Nexon behind it, so there's only so much enjoyability you could get out of it. And it's just interesting to see how like to see what remains constant between each new installment. Like you got Blue Protocol coming out soon, and it was seeing how they try to either reinvent the wheel or play it safe. Like for example, New World. New World came out that that
I heard that was a pretty rough launch. Did not play it.
It was bad when they found out that they made it so that all the stuff was on the client side and you could just pretty much hack
I remember that.
Yeah, you just make yourself have GOM or whatever. Rough patches. So it's just the whole. It's been rough. We ain't gonna get into the nonsense that was happening with WoW either. They're like that
was a mistake.
Everything in the MMOs in the recent couple of years has just been chaotic. So
you liked MMOs originally, but have been put off by it over time.
Yeah, like we started off. I started off my MMO adventures with the worst one possible, like straight up.
Hey, look, let's not act like that wasn't the best MMO.
It was fun. It was look, Maple Story was fun, all right, but it's just the toxic practices behind it. You could kind of see this ugly hand just like across the game sphere.
Oh, for sure, bro. Look,
and it's just like. And we had great games to play too, like Blade and Soul back a couple years ago. That was fun. And what was another one we played? Grand Chase, Elsword, like
Elsword, not as much, but Grand Chase.
Hey! It was all I know is I had a giant sword in that game. That was fun to sell.
Didn't you stop playing that game because they gave you a timer of how long you could play per day?
Yes. I just said, look, the gameplay was fun, but when they sat there and told me I had a stamina, I'm like, hey, yo, you're not gonna tell me how much I want to play my own game.
Yeah. That sounds kind of whack.
Yeah, but when it comes to what I play Final Fantasy, it's the MMO that it's the safest MMO. I'll put it that way. They do new stuff when it's time to, when they have downtime, but you pretty much know what you see, what you get. And
I still need to buff Gunbreaker.
Yeah, but as James, Rodney, Dazelle tell you, all my favorite game IPs have just been taking a hit after hit after hit.
Yes,
your favorites are often my favorites, so you ain't alone.
Vampire Masquerade. Food.
Ooh. That was my favorite game series.
What was the most recent one? Swan Song?
Yeah. That's a video with itself.
Yeah, we could say that Swan Song Us was pretty much the swan song of the series.
Yes. Borderlands was one of my favorite games. Saints Row was one of my favorite games.
Yeah, it's been rough years for Lerone here.
Hard times out here in these streets, bruv.
Yeah.
Let us know if you need some help, man. We can get you some.
Let's talk about. Let us know. What are you finna do?
And I think this is across genres, and I feel like all four of us could agree to this. No matter which our favorite type of game to play is, it's been a long time since we've been happy playing a game that we liked in our respective genres. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time you had a game besides Resident Evil 4? Obviously, that was good.
Yeah.
But it's like Cyberpunk, for example. I was waiting for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, when is the next big game going to come out where it's new and everyone's excited and it pretty much lives up to people's expectations?
Feels good. You can lock stuff in the game. Don't have to crazy
like whatever it may be. It just it's Yeah, this is what I wanted.
I feel like they're pretty few and far between at this point.
It definitely seem like they're not as frequent anymore as they used to be.
Yeah.
Like going back all the way, we had the early 2000s was just a freaking gold mine of stuff. Like you can go everything from Resident Evil to freaking the beginning of Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
They had their dumps too, right? But I feel like because there's so many more games coming out, you had a lot more lows and you had a lot more highs. Maybe we didn't expect as much back then either.
Games were also finished, or at least kind of finished.
Yeah, there was finishes they were gonna.
There wasn't no day one patch. Once however it was released on that disc is what you got. Yeah, and if you wanted a different version, you had to buy a special edition of said.
Yeah, they're probably a lot cheaper to make too. So
yeah,
all kinds of stuff stems from that.
I mean, that's because the budgets weren't as bloated.
Yeah,
I mean they have to be to a certain degree though, because like graphics, like motion capture, like is no.
That's the thing, right?
I understand that, but I don't feel like you need to spend a quarter.
Yeah, because
$1 billion to make a fucking game.
I feel like a compelling story. I feel like a compelling story. Like I feel like The Last of Us, which is another game we could talk about. It's a very heavily story-driven game. It came out on the PS3. Graphics were unbelievable on the PS3. I still think, or like they're really, really good. But I don't think the graphics are what carry that game's storytelling and the game in general. Maybe that is what got it into the hands of more people. Maybe more people saw it because, like, oh wow, look at those graphics. That's usually like a big selling point. But like I feel like you could still tell compelling stories and you could still make money off of those compelling stories off of worse graphics. Like I don't think the graphics need to be as photorealistic as they're getting, if that's really what's causing the expenses. I'm not sure what's causing all the expenses for these games nowadays, but like Metal Gear Solid, the old Call of Duties, The Last of Us, God of Wars, like those games were like the biggest games at the time, and I'm pretty sure they were made on a fraction of the money that games are made on now. Right? Like I would love to see what the new Horizon game costs to make compared to like Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3. And I think a lot of people would say that those Metal Gear games were able to deliver a just as compelling story, if not more compelling in some instances. And it didn't have crazy graphics. You can still watch it today. Maybe you get put off by the graphics. I'm curious to see like a company with a lot of talent put out a game graphics from like the PS2 era and just like not spend a lot of money, but just focus on everything else. Right? You're making gameplay. You don't think it would do well?
It depends on the genre, but most games would not survive that treatment. Like at least not from an indie developer. Sure, indie developers could get away with that, but
I can see that because it's not exactly like you said. It's an indie game developer, but what is it? The people who make those VHS horror games, for example, like
Puppet Combo.
It's like those games. They're at least viral enough. I'm not sure the sales, how much money they're making off them, but they're doing well enough to make multiple games. So I'm taking that as a good sign. But it's the fact that it's like obviously those games aren't carried by graphics, but that's also their aesthetic. So you can lean into more retro graphics. I feel like personally. But I understand what you're saying. Like you can't come out with like a new
there are a ton of games coming out now that look like classic shooters from way back in the day, and that's fine, right? I think those games sell decently. My point is, I would be curious to see how a AAA modern release without as much as the budget, like from a company like that, like I don't know how many people work at Naughty Dog. I don't know if it's even a feasible thing, but if they could put out a game that's graphics aren't as crazy as The Last of Us Part 2, but it's still got competent writing, good gameplay, good storytelling, good whatever else they're trying to focus on without as much of a budget behind it. I'd love to see how that would do.
I looked up two random games, MGS4 and Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Destiny was made on a budget double of what MGS4 was. MGS4 was around 50 to 70 mil. Destiny 1's budget came out to around 140 mil.
That's a game. They technically came out on the same console. One was exclusive. Like maybe the exclusivity gave it more money there, but like Metal Gear Solid 4, I feel like how much you said 40 to 60?
40 to 50.
40 to 50 million. Like I think that game's graphics are still good today. Like I don't think it looks bad. And I think that would be more than adequate to do games now. Like maybe if you worked on more systems and stuff depending on the game, but like does it really need to get better than that? I don't think so. Maybe it does, just to catch the eye of the new consumer.
I don't think you realize how fickle the gaming community can be sometimes with like graphics, right? Because you know what I found out recently? A lot of people prefer graphics fidelity over performance mode. So a lot of people are paying like because they're like, oh, well, I got this next gen console. I want it to look as pretty as possible. So they'll get rid of their 60 FPS for it to look better. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to think about that. If a lot of people, like, I don't know what the like exact, numbers are, but if a lot of people, over half people are saying that or acting like that, like, they're not going to be willing to, like, the publishers are not going to be willing to take a hit on graphics when they know that's what people want to see, Like,
I guess one way to look at it is that graphics in itself is an advertisement for the game, if it's good enough. Like, perfect example, did y'all hear about that new game that came out that IGN went over on record?
The one that doesn't even look real. Like, it looks too real to be, like, a game.
An actual game, yeah.
Yeah,
like some people think it was like a QTE game or whatever, but it's just straight up just, like, that's getting people talking. Like, that's how, like, someone looks at that and is like, oh, wait, this is actually a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting a lot of people talk. It's ridiculous.
You're right. And that's free advertisement. That's more money in their hands.
My point is, do they have to keep making more money? Right? Like, if you kept the graphics let's say you kept the graphics at the level of Metal Gear Solid 4, but you just kept
like improving the game,
increasing other things, other stuff. Maybe you made it open world. Maybe you made it more choices in the game. You did other things without the graphics being the number one selling point. Would that still be popular? I feel like it could be. I don't know if it'd be as popular, but I think it'd still turn a profit.
I feel like that's how cult following start for me.
It is, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to this. Is the game trying to look like real life, or does it have its own style? Because a stylistic game, it doesn't matter how good the graphics are, because you're going to be you're going to be looking at it based on what the style is, right? Like, if you look up, like, I think it's Kirby's Yarn Adventure or something like that, that game's old as shit. Old as hell. But even to this day, I looked at some gameplay, like, randomly. It was on one of the guys I watch on YouTube, and it looks like it could come out today, and it would still be accepted because it's a stylistic game, right? It's not about looking real. It's not trying to simulate a real person shooting. It's not trying to simulate a real person attacking, doing anything like that. It's Kirby as a string. You know what I mean? So if you're doing games like that, it's possible, right? But if you're trying to make a game that can be compared to real life in any capacity, so like a Call of Duty, a shooting, most FPSs, zombie games, like stuff that has real people, unless it's very stylized, they have to have good graphics in there or they're going to get shit on. I mean, unless they have the best possible, controls and everything else is perfect, they're going to get shit on. And even if they do have everything else perfect to the T, they're still going to get people that talk about, well, these graphics are still something that you might not see in modern days, or is more similar to something you would see in 2014, but everything else is great. So it's going to be a detractor from it, right? And that's something to keep in mind. So I think it just really comes down to what you're looking for. If you're looking for realistic games, you have to have good graphics. If you're looking for like a animated, cel shaded 2D game or something like that, like you can go for the lower graphics and really still be able to be successful. I mean, look at Hades, man. Like, well, that's one of the best games I've
Oh,
ever
that's
played.
super stylized. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
one
like,
of the
what
best games I ever played.
point does the retro games like what point is that considered the art style?
I mean, what do you mean? Because I want to say
Like,
that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
yeah,
game that
you
we played
look at
recently.
that, like, but that's really old. I mean, like, when will Metal Gear Solid 4's graphics be considered retro enough to be an art style?
I don't think they'll ever be considered retro. You
You
know
don't think
why?
so?
They look too close to what we view as like high quality. So like,
Real hyper realistic.
yeah, right, because it's still going to be based on like, real life. It's still comparable to real life. So when we look back at that game, even though it might not look as good as stuff today, I don't feel like we'll ever look at it and say it's retro, mainly because it still looks really good. Like, for it to be
Like,
retro, you have to be able to see the pixels. It has to be like, like your eyes can distinguish like what's
like
good
I
and
feel
what's
like a
not.
good example is this, right? Like we going off games that let's say came out like in the last year or so. Like
Sure.
take Elden Ring for example.
Yeah.
Only Elden Ring will ever be considered, no matter
That's
how
a
much was
great
improved,
this is a great example. Yep.
it will never be considered a retro game. But on the flip side, I can see 10, 20 years Hi-Fi Rush. That could be considered a retro looking game.
Well, yeah, that's like cel shaded. That's super like artistically styled. I think the better
Exactly.
point for Elden Ring is that I don't think Elden Ring, even when it came out, was like especially groundbreaking in graphics, right?
Right.
No one was like, "Oh wow, this game looks incredible." Like, yeah, it looked good, sure. It was in a high resolution. I don't think a lot of the textures and stuff were that crazy or any more crazy than even Dark Souls 1. Like maybe a bit in some instances.
Right.
I think the biggest selling point for that game was the other stuff they did around it. Right?
Yeah.
The open world,
World.
the
Yeah.
freedom of character design, the lore and stuff in the building of the world that FromSoft does so well. I didn't even really think about that. I was just kind of sitting in the back of my head. I think that's a great example to my point where I don't think game graphics need to be always pushing the envelope to make it top notch. I think you can do other things.
Right. Like I think the problem is that it's kind of going over what you all were saying. It's like too many games now are trying to be that game that raised the bar instead of just like enjoying and building in what's considered acceptable in this current time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like too many games have been trying to like, oh, we can make graphics even better. Like, what
I
about
mean,
these
you
different
can
modes you
make
put in the game? You don't got time for
you
that
can
now. You
make
gotta
the
make the graphics
prettiest
better.
piece of shit in the world, but it's still just gonna be a pretty piece of shit.
Right.
One case,
Like I
fucking
go
Forspoken.
back and play very old games and still enjoy them immensely
I play
compared to a
Vampire
lot of
Sure.
really
Masquerade once
good
every
looking
couple of years.
games. Exactly. Like I'll go
Yeah,
back
that
and
game
play
looks like a
Fire Emblem from
cartoon.
the
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance, bruh. Like I don't mind sprites. As long as everything is appealing to my eyes, it don't matter. It doesn't have to be photorealistic. As long as the gameplay is fun and engaging and what I'm looking at and what I'm doing more or less tickles my fancy. Like Vindictus. If I had a good enough PC, I would be playing Vindictus probably on a regular basis solely because one, I can make my character look bad as fuck. But the combat is superb. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to look like Modern Warfare 2 remake. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to see every pore or sweat drop dripping down my character's face. It's not what I'm here for. It's nice to have, but is it necessary? No.
Yeah.
But if you got bad structure, bad bones, bad base, it doesn't matter how good
Yeah.
your
I
game is
think
gonna look.
we're coming up on the point where graphics aren't as important. I don't think like they've hit a baseline value where
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Like I
think
Like
said,
they
like
maybe
look at
like
on record.
20,
Like
20
how
years
much more
ago, a
farther can
lot's
we take
happened
this?
within 20 years,
Yeah.
graphic wise. But do we need to keep pushing that envelope as hard? Like 1998 and 2018, very different scene as far as gaming is
Dude,
concerned, right?
crazy.
Yeah.
So like we've made such large leaps that I feel like we don't have to leap as large as often anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, gaming was still relatively new. The industry as a whole was still relatively new. So in order to bring in money, you had to keep pushing. Because if you didn't,
Yeah.
you would just kind of fall under the radar. Plus,
I think that the
everything was
technology
more or less more expensive
technology was getting
back then.
significantly better. Right? Like the jump from 2D to 3D, the jump from 3D to HD. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the misconception is like when technology improves, it's not at a constant rate. Like people like to think of like it evolves a certain amount like every year or so. But the thing is, as we get new technology, it upgrades even faster because we have new technology to work with.
Yeah.
So it's just the rate of improvement. Like a difference that would be like between 5 years would be seen in like a year now.
Yeah.
Like a good example is just like every console generation, I believe, is a perfect example of this. Because you look at the last game that came out on the PS4, for example, then like the first game that came out on the PS5 by exclusively, you'll see the vast just difference between the time the console died and the time the new console came up. And it's only been like a couple months between the two.
Yeah. It's definitely pretty crazy what they're able to do with it.
Really is. Where do you think we should call it quits for the first episode? I know, like, I don't know if you need
we've been
to do
going
any
for
editing or anything.
I mean, I'm gonna edit it and post. I mean, we've been going for about an hour and a half now. You guys,
we can probably call it.
That's not
I
bad.
feel
yeah,
like
you guys are good.
yeah, we should probably.
I enjoyed this immensely.
I did. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a good conversation.
Yeah, dude, we're just
It's
a bunch
a
of
safe
buttheads
space
for not
for
doing
all
this
things
10 years
gaming.
ago.
Yeah.
Yo, if we're gonna have to do an episode about our Saints Row adventure.
Yeah, we're gonna have plenty to talk about. Sure, I definitely think some of us should focus on some video stuff. I think we have a lot of potential in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening. Anybody who listened to this, I don't know.
And if you still
we would
are,
be.
I
Yeah, if you
appreciate
still
you.
are,
I love you personally. Me,
dude,
you,
you're the best.
Us.
Right.
Anybody who's listening to this is the best.
I'll make you a sandwich.
Probably.
What?
Don't eat that. Don't trust that.
Don't eat that.
If anybody wants to plug anything they're doing, any social media they have, we'll start off with Rodney. Got anything?
Not at the moment, no.
Not at the moment. All right. Denzel.
Not at the moment.
Nah, I think I want to make something else specifically for this, so not at the moment.
All right, and I'm pretty sure LeBron's got anything but Lerone.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Oh, I'm definitely gonna plug my stuff.
Yup.
Yeah. So yes, for the new listeners here, I'm an author. I go by LJ Branch as my pen name. I have 2 books out right now: Presence the Marked and Presence Fangs the Flask. You can find out more of them on royalpresence.com.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for listening.
Love being here, man.
Yeah,
we are family at this point. I've known you guys almost.
It's over a decade. I've known
my whole adult life.
Over 2 decades. I've known Rodney for over a decade. I've known Infamous for over a decade.